speaker today will be Anish Marchant, a CEO and co-founder of Marchant GMAT and Admissions. He will explain what the GMAT is really testing and how preparing for the exam will make you the best version of you. Before starting, I just want to let you know that you can ask questions anytime during the webinar using the Q&A box, and we'll take time to answer at the end of the session. All questions are welcome, so don't hesitate. So I think we are set now, so I'm giving the floor to you, Anish.
Thank you, Nelly, and I want to thank everybody at GMAT Prep for letting us present here. And I want to thank everybody who is spending the time here to listen to this presentation or to watch this presentation. I really appreciate it. And I really hope that you guys will learn a lot from this presentation. So what I want to talk to you guys today about how the GMAT Prep, how preparing for the GMAT in general is designed to make you a successful business leader, and really is going to make the best version of you. And what do I mean, the best version of you? Okay, what does that really mean? Well, it's the person you kind of dream of becoming, because when you start this journey, what are you really trying to do? You envision yourself as that CEO, as that leader, as an entrepreneur, or as that person who's using the MBA to get the life that they want. Okay. And that in order to become that person, become that vision, you're going to have to master some skills. You have to change yourself to become that person who's going to be successful. Okay. So during this webinar, what I want to talk to you about, what the GMAT is really testing you on, and how you should look at this preparation for the GMAT and how that can actually help you, right? It's about the proper framing of this exam that will then teach you the skills necessary to be successful at the next level. Okay, whether that's the decision-making abilities you'll need, or the aptitudes that you're going to learn through these GMAT preparation. That's going to be the same skills that's going to help you receive promotions, launch successful entrepreneur ventures, manage high-profile consulting projects, or grow businesses 10x across all industries. So that's what we want to talk about today. So let's go ahead and start off with the elephant in the room here. Okay, what is the GMAT really testing on? Okay, so we look at the GMAT. You may have got yourself some prep, maybe gone on the internet, looked at some articles, maybe even started a GMAT course yourself. Maybe you have even taken the test. All right, so looking at the GMAT, the way it looks like a pretty basic type of exam with the testing on mathematical skills, English reading comprehension, writing skills, general knowledge skills, and maybe it's asking about how intelligent am I? Does it think it's an IQ test? What is it really testing you on? Why do I have to even learn this? How is this relevant to where I'm going for an MBA program? So these are all pretty valid questions, okay? But on first glance, it's really easy to see this. It may look like one of these similar high school exams you've taken to get into college. Maybe it looks like an SAT, okay? Or but you got to ask yourself a question. Why are the authors of this exam asking me to, basically go over, basic math problems, English reading comp problems, sentence correction? Okay, why are they doing this if I'm going to go to a business school? All right, so let's talk about that, okay? So the first thing I want to really make a point here is that decision-making abilities and the business aptitudes or the skill sets that you need, that's the stuff that's going to take you to the next level to make you a successful business leader. And that is our goal, not just getting a good score on the GMAT. It's really what's after the GMAT, what's after business school. Okay, so how can we start developing these skills now in order to make it successful and worthwhile for our time and our investment that we put in there? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what are the skills that are relevant at the next level. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the GMAT. It's not testing you. It's not a math test. It's not an English grammar test. It's not an IQ test. Okay, it's designed to measure certain skill sets, abilities, and aptitudes that it believes will make you successful at the MBA level, specifically your first year at a top MBA program. So let's talk a little bit about what is really going on, what they're testing you on. What they're really testing you on is problem solving, strategy, organization, dedication, and that's a big one, which leads to then perseverance, creativity, flexibility, and visualization. Okay, that's what really 80% of the GMAT is really testing you on. Even though it may seem like it's just math and grammar, for us, if we've been doing this for a long time, this is what we found out. And only 20% of the test is really based on math and grammar. Okay, so once you understand this, it's going to change the way you approach preparation for the GMAT. Maybe doing a whole bunch of math problems isn't the best way. Maybe learning a bunch of grammar skills isn't the best way to learn or practice for this test. Is this going to help you in the future? You need to ask yourself that question. Maybe it's better that we learn these other skill sets and then apply them to the test itself. So let's talk about the topics tested on the GMAT. All right. So the topics tested on the GMAT currently are data sufficiency and problem solving. Now, this is going to encompass the quant area. So let's talk about that for a second. Data sufficiency is a very unique type of question that the GMAT, it's only unique to the GMAT really. What they do is they give you a problem or a question, and they'll give you two pieces of information. Now you have to decide if, based on what the problem's telling you, if the one piece of information is sufficient or enough, or the second piece is sufficient by itself, or both of them are sufficient together, or perhaps both these pieces of information are not even relevant at all to help you solving the problem. Now, why is that? Why are they doing this? Why are they giving me this type of problem? Well, you see, as a business leader, as a manager, you're not going to really be asked sometimes to actually execute the problem. Your job is going to be basically to understand the problem, to find that root issue that needs to be fixed in order for your team to go ahead and execute your vision and to accomplish this thing. Okay, so that's why this is so important. It's really testing your managerial skills. Do you have the ability to find out what the problem is really asking about, and what information do you need in order to solve the problem? Okay, this is why we find data sufficiency to be extremely useful to your next level skills that you need to get. Because let's take a good example as a consultant. A consultant is a high profile job, and it's really high pressure. They're being tasked to come to a client, typically talking to the C-level clients at their project, and having to solve a difficult business problem that they're presented with. Now, the funny part is they might not even know anything about the industry, these consultants, but their job is to look at the problem, break it down into smaller parts, find out what are the issues, the root issues that, if can be corrected, can solve the whole problem. Okay, so you can see how data sufficiency is really training you for this skill. Okay, and so that's something you really want to pay attention to when you're studying data sufficiency. You don't want to really tell yourself, why am I doing this? Or just learn, the methods and ways of how to get to the right answer. That's not very useful, but applying the practical ways of looking at these problems, that's the type of skill that's going to help you at a top MBA and really at a career going forward. Okay, and remember, that's what our end goal is. Our end goal is what? Can we develop these problem-solving skills that's going to help us become a successful leader in the future? Which brings me to the next topic that quant talks about on the GMAT, which is problem solving. It may just look like a typical word problem you might have seen in, again, high school or college, but really what's happening here in these problems is very unique. They're asking you how to solve a problem in really 2 minutes. Basically, how are you going to break down a huge problem and solve it and get to the correct solution? Now, this is a time where you have to actually execute it yourself. So what do? How are you going to read this problem in 2 minutes and solve it? Well, it's about the methods you need to apply in order to solve problems correctly. Let's break things up into small, manageable parts as we go through our progression to get to the right answer. You don't have the time to sit there and think about this problem for a long time. You have 2 minutes. What do? You start breaking them down as soon as you start reading each sentence, okay? You start understanding what that sentence means before going on to the next sentence, and so on and so on. So by the time you get to the end, you've already comprehended what the problem is asking you, and you probably have already arrived to your solution. Now, that is the type of skill sets that you're going to need in the fast-paced, high-pressure type of jobs, especially when they throw you into a work area where you have no idea about the industry or what's going on, or you've got to set up something, you've got to deliver something really quick. Okay, this is where that type of skill really comes in handy. All right, now let's talk about verbal here. Now the verbal, I get a lot of questions all the time. Why do I need to learn sentence correction? Okay, I mean, come on. Like, we have computer apps that'll do it for me. I've got assistants that can do this, write letters for me. But let's be real, communication is so crucial in today's business environment. Communicating with your clients, communicating with your boss, communicating with your people that work for you. Okay, you need to be clear and concise. You can't be, having run-on sentences and paragraphs as you try to explain something. People aren't going to listen. Okay, you probably dealt with this when you made a presentation. Maybe you wrote too much. Maybe you could concise that into one simple sentence telling you what exactly the message is supposed to be. Okay, another thing to look at in sentence correction is error spotting. Now, this is something I've noticed when we've taught our students that, look, this is a comparable skill to, say, if I'm looking at multiple Excel files. What I'm looking at that point is, and they've been delivered to me for a project, I don't have time to look over every single formula. I need to be able to look this whole thing at once and spot the errors. Now, that's what sentence correction is also going to teach you, how to quickly spot errors. Okay, so this is why I believe sentence correction is extremely important into your preparations, because it's going to teach you these skills, which of course are going to make you successful in the future. Now, critical reasoning is absolutely my favorite part of verbal. Critical reasoning is similar to what data sufficiency is in a lot of ways. Now, you see, especially when it comes to marketing and really all aspects of life, not just the business world, critical reasoning is where we're going to start seeing how people lead us to assumptions. They lead us to assumptions all the time. Our job is to be critical, say, hey, wait, what about that? What about that? Okay, and it is so important in the business world that we ask the right questions, questioning assumptions. Okay, whether it be weakening them or strengthening them, this is what we're going to learn how to do. Because it's one thing to just question it. What happens if you're the person, you're the marketer, you're the one presenting an idea, you're the one selling something, and you realize that the assumptions that you're leading your audience to believe is weak? This is where this critical reasoning will train you how to then present basically how to improve upon your presentation, upon your sales pitch, and so on to make it stronger. Okay, so I truly believe when you're learning critical reasoning, these are, again, very, very valuable skills that are going to help you. Okay, now reading comprehension, what is that about? Well, have you ever had to read contracts? Okay, not so much fun. Okay, or contracts or indentured agreements or whatever legal tax issues, it doesn't matter. Stuff that is boring to you, that's dense. How are you going to get around that and understand what is being presented to you? Okay, it could be a technical paper. It could be a business review, case studies that you'll have to learn in college in the MBA program. Okay, so the ability to understand what the author of these papers are trying to explain and be able to put it into a very simple term, again, is extremely important. Extremely important in how you're going to make decisions based off this. Okay, so let's take a look at that, and let's take a look at how we can analyze what the GMAT test taker should be learning and how it relates a little bit to the business right here in a nice little chart. So as you can see here, we've already described that 80% of the work, the skills you need to learn in order to be successful on the GMAT is these problem solving, dedication, creativity, visualization, strategy, organization, perseverance, and flexibility. Look at that. You're going to be using all these skills when solving your quant problems, your verbal problems. Okay, this is what it takes. Dedication. That's what it takes to study, to put in the hours, to change yourself, to learn these skills. Okay, this is, as you can see here, these are very applicable to the business world. These are the same skill sets. If I presented this to you, this is what you need to be successful: problem solving, dedication, creativity, visualization, strategy, organization, perseverance, and flexibility. Yeah, you'd say, of course, that would make me a great business professional. So why not apply that same way of thinking to the GMAT? Okay, so let's go ahead and see, let's give an example. How can the GMAT, let's just give an example here about being an, I don't know, an entrepreneur. Now I can talk about personal experience here because the GMAT made me a better entrepreneur. All right. My story is pretty simple. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Merchant GMAT. I started this company 8 years ago with one person who needed help on the GMAT. Following these rules that we discovered from teaching multiple people, understanding high business professionals, basically people who work in top levels of the business world, high level consultants, investment bankers, to anywhere, to work in marketing, to, basically what we figured out was that in order to teach them effectively, in order to get them to understand how to master the GMAT, was actually not by teaching them math and verbal, but was explaining to them how this one simple problem, or what looks simple, applies to their job, their current job. Okay, and we started doing that. We started seeing massive results. Okay, so then I started thinking, oh man, this is a pretty good idea. Let me apply it in my life, actually. So using these principles that we teach at the GMAT has actually led us to really, have the company that I love, guys. I love working for this company, even if it wasn't, if I wasn't the top person here. I would work for this company because it is incredible. It's because of the systems and the structures and the vision that we've implemented, really based on our GMAT teaching principles. So I for sure understand how this has helped me and expanded our company and led to our growth and where we are today. And it is amazing. But let's take a look at this for a second. And let's understand, something on the GMAT that's really more important, such as something that's
sorry to interrupt you. You're sharing something with us, right?
You can't see my screen?
No, right now I cannot. I can only see you.
Oh, okay, we should have mentioned that before. Sorry about that. That's awkward.
No, it happens. Don't worry.
Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, perfect.
Oh, wow. Well, that's...
Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, well, let me know if that happened. That sucks. Okay. Well, guys, listen, here's we're on this slide. Again, I apologize. So wow. Okay, that stopped my flow there. But let's go here. So look, can the GMAT make you a better entrepreneur? Yes. Okay. How? Well, look, when you're thinking about a problem, you can think about the concept of speed. Let me figure out this problem really quickly. Let me go to try executing this problem fast. Okay. To me, that's not where you want to do. That can lead to mistakes. What actually is the right way to think about it is, let me understand the problem. Let me spend my time on the question. Okay. By doing that, actually the problem can become a lot simpler. You might find these root issues, right, that are easy to fix, that could solve your problem. Okay, whether that be in marketing, whether that be in sales, whether that be in human resources or finance and accounting and all the things you have to learn as an entrepreneur and all the problems you're going to face. If you spend your time understanding the problem, it's going to be a lot easier to fix. Okay, and that's going to help you actually be more quicker and more efficient, and you're going to get faster at doing this. Okay, so that is what what I've learned. Okay, and I use a methodical and efficient manner that, again, the same process I use in data sufficiency. What is my problem? Let me spend my time on my problem. Let me break it down into smaller, manageable parts so I can get that understanding. All right, and what it takes, and that's going to then help me really have a clear answer going forward, and that's what's amazing. So I want to talk to you a little bit about just about being an entrepreneur, but these are still relevant skills at every type of position you kind of want. Let's take a look at a senior project manager consultant, breaking down complex problems into simple, manageable parts that they can then sell to their clients to implement. That's exactly what they do for a living. okay? And look, a private equity, an investment banker, a financial manager of some sort, time management and using time efficiently, okay? That's what they have to do. They have to use every minute of the day. How are they going to make themselves so efficient to get a lot of this stuff done? So let's move on here. And let me give you an example of some of our students. It's one thing for me to talk to you about it, but let me tell you from people who are just like you and basically who pretty much are going to be you in the future, okay? So let's take a look at our buddy Teddy over here. Now, Teddy was a great guy. He's one of my old students over here. Now, he ended up doing well using the merchant methods to get his score obviously high enough to get into a great school like Darden, and eventually ended up going to Amazon, and where he's a senior project manager. Now, you're more than welcome to go to our website, www.merchantgmat.com, where you can click on the videos and you can watch Teddy give you his whole presentation here, how he used merchant methods to solve these problems that he had to work. But I just want to quickly give you a recap of what he kind of talked about here. He was faced with a difficult position. He's an intern, okay? In business school, your internships matter. He got an intern at Amazon. He's faced with an extremely difficult problem, okay? He's faced with a problem where basically he's working on a technical product with deliverables that are due very soon in an industry that he has no knowledge on. He has no background on this technology. Now, this technology was called walkout technology. It's kind of similar to Google Pay, Apple Pay. It's basically ways that you can have a customer, basically pay without cards and stuff like that using, wireless transmission, Bluetooth, your phone, so on and so on. Amazon obviously wants to get in that business. So they tasked Teddy with this project, and Teddy had no clue about technology, but that's okay. What Teddy did was he took a deep breath, remembered his training, and he went on working on this product methodically. He started breaking it down into much more smaller manageable parts. And he says right here to declutter his thinking. Now, I love that word, declutter your thinking, declutter your desk, declutter your life, make it simple. And that's what he ended up doing, which led him to understand the problem. Didn't need to know the technology behind it, didn't need to be cluttered with that, but for him to understand the problem more clear. So this way, when he went to go talk to industry professionals, or he went to go talk to his clients, he was asking them the direct, real questions that would solve that problem, which then led to a more efficient way to solving this problem for his higher ups. And you know what? Because of that, they loved what he did. They actually executed his plan, and he's in charge of it right now. They gave him a job because of it. So, now he's a senior project manager working on his own project, which we were really happy for him. And I mean, this is a real life example of how you can utilize these methods for strength of the GMAT and translate it to your future career and be successful. Here's another example of Jessica. Now, Jessica is actually one of my first students. I love Jess. She was background in strategy consulting and innovation consulting. Okay. And Jess really talks about something here that I think is really important. It's really how to allocate your resources, your time. Okay. In life, as you get older, you're going to find out that time moves faster and you don't feel like you have a lot of it, especially if you're busy all the time, or if you're a type of person who wants to do stuff, build stuff, make stuff. Guess what? Time's going to go by fast. Okay. And so what she realized here, how to utilize the scarce amount of time available and to make the best possible decision. You see on the GMAT with 2 minutes per question, you don't got a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to sit there and come up with the perfect answer. You've got to come up with the best possible answer that is available there. Okay. So what she did at PepsiCo, she had to basically she had to come up with a new product. She had to come up with an MVP, which is the most minimum viable product out there, and begin testing these new products, decide where to launch new products, such as sodas, non-gaseous water, sodas, obviously PepsiCo, you understand what they're selling there. So basically, she didn't have a lot of time to be able to provide these new products and how to test them. Okay, so what she decided to do was use some of the methodology she learned in her classes here, which is basically how to, what she's able to do basically was to come up with a strategic approach, came up with the best possible outcome and went for it. Was okay, picked the answer she thought was the best and did it. Did not sit there forever and did not come up with the answer. As a leader, as a person making decisions, you're not going to have all the time in the world. You need to pick the best possible decision and go with it and be confident that you're going to go with it. Okay. So in order to do that, sometimes the best way to do it is eliminate the wrong answers. There's a bunch of different ways that the GMAT can prepare you on how to do this. Okay. Especially the problem solving section. So let's go ahead and talk about one more guy here, my buddy Nico. Nico, he's a consultant, comes with a finance background, ended up going to Chicago, Booth, another great school. And what he really learned from the program, or what he learned from studying for the GMAT, he basically was presented with problems at his work, where next thing you know, they're going to ask him, hey, Nico, we need you to prepare something for 100 clients online. You got to give a presentation. He's like, what are you guys talking about? I just got here. No, but, whatever it is they're asking him to do, and this is what's going to happen to you, is you'll be presented with tasks you just have to do. And what are you going to do about it? Well, studying the GMAT and being able to solve problems quickly and be able to break down the problems in small, manageable parts has led him to 3 core skills that he likes to say has helped him in his career. 1, being able to move quickly, to quickly focus on the underlying problem. Again, I'm going to say this. What is the underlying problem? What is the root issue? Okay. That's going to allow you to prioritize your time. That's going to allow you to spend your time where it's needed the most, which is going to give you the most outcome. Okay. That's going to make you quick on your feet. The faster you get doing that, faster you get finding the underlying problem, the root issue is going to make you solve problems really quickly. And it's quite impressive. You can not only use it on your career, but you use it in your daily life, because we all have different problems that we're dealing with outside of our career. Okay. Life is really about problem solving, right? As you get older in life, you just have more and more difficult problems to solve. Okay. So that's what he learned. It also gave him what I thought was really important, the confidence standing there in front of higher ups to say, I got this, I can solve this problem. Okay. So that type of training and practice that the GMAT provided for him has given him these 3 core skills that he believes is made his life quite better, and more successful at his job. Okay. And the confidence issue is a big deal. It's a huge deal. Okay, because let's be real. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that maybe a lot of people don't talk about. I told you about, how these skills are going to make you a better person, and whatnot. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's true. But I want to talk to you guys about something else that is important as well. Let's talk a little bit about the dark side of the GMAT. Now, our company's taught hundreds and hundreds of students. And whether it be, people who are extremely, what you consider to be type A people, highest jobs, best grades, whatever, to the people who may have struggled, and the people who didn't have that confidence, but had secretly, you can see it in them, they have something special. All of them had some issues with this dark side of the GMAT. Now, that's the psychological dimension that you will have to master and push through. Okay, you got to understand, it's not the theory, it's not the practice, it's not the knowledge of the GMAT, and there's a lot of stuff that comes on it. A lot of this times, this is a solitary journey. Doing it by yourself, it doesn't feel good getting problems wrong. It doesn't feel good. You start thinking to yourself, can I do this? Do I deserve to go to business school? Am I even capable? Okay, now you're going to feel all this stuff, the fear of failure, the judgment of others. What are people going to know if I get a bad GMAT score? Okay. Like I said, am I good enough to compete in an MBA? Okay. And then you have the people who think they know everything. They're overconfident. They go, I got this stuff. I got it. You'd be surprised what their scores end up being. Okay. And anxiety. We all have it, guys. Anxiety. You're working a 12-hour job, maybe. You got to come home. You got to study for the GMAT. You can't go out with your friends. It takes a toll on you. Okay. But overcoming these issues, it's tough. and it's hard. But I tell you what, by doing so, you're going to have that in your back pocket. What I mean by that, what I mean is when you're faced with more difficult, more challenging, more stressful, anxiety-inducing problems as you grow older in life, you're going to have that in your back pocket. Say, I overcame that already when I was preparing for the GMAT, when I was changing my life to get to the MBA school I wanted to go to. Okay, so this is something you're going to have to deal with. Now, there are solutions on how to go around this. One, you don't have to do this alone. Okay, you don't. You need to be around like-minded people, people who can tell you, guess what? I failed on the GMAT 3 times myself. It's okay. Perseverance is what matters. I may not do well today. I'm going to do well tomorrow. Okay, surround yourself with people doing the same adventure with you. Reach out to people on LinkedIn who are the schools you want to go to and say, hey, I want to be just like you. And I'm going through this problem. You'll be surprised when they tell you, and you'll be surprised the fact they even respond to you, because I guarantee a lot of them will. Okay. So in our program, what we did at Merchant, we started off as doing individual test taking. We thought that was the best way. We were like, hey, of course, I can recognize an individual's issues on the test, and we can correct those root issues, and we can solve it. But we didn't. Over time, we started seeing there's other issues, especially with the COVID pandemic and everything that's been happening. This is being amplified. So we designed another program to solve this. Now, I'm not saying you got to join Merchant. What I'm saying to you is you got to do something similar. You got to find a group of people that's going to support you, whether they've done it before, whether they're starting it now, or whether they're a lower level than you. Surround yourself with like-minded people, and you will be successful. You will fight through these issues, and you will learn a lot about yourself and what you truly can be, which we believe is the best version of you. Okay, so let's take a look at what we did. We created a program that gives you the best of the both worlds. We realized that individual classes just don't work. They need that social aspect of it. So we put people in 5 like-minded people from all over the world. We put them in groups of 5. Okay. Now, what we teach them is we teach them the business skills. For instance, we'll teach you, okay, here's how you solve this problem, but really this is how you practice this problem in real life. And that's actually how you really get it. Okay. But by doing so, we are able to solve some of these social, we make these people study together. Then they're part of a larger network of other people who have been in the program that they can then rely on. Then they can then rely on to the people who are in the current MBA schools, and so on and so on. So that's the Merchant network we created to solve these problems. Okay, that's what we did. We just built our own network, right? What does that let us? And you still get the individual classes. So what we did was you're in a class with 5 people, but then you still have what's called our coaching hours, where you basically meet with one of our coaches. And you're not going to just do homework problems. We're going to help you solve a lot of the dark side of this GMAT issues. We're going to help you solve anxiety. We're going to help show you that it's not as stressful as you can. We're going to help manage your calendar and show you that you do have time, how you can make time for yourself to study for the GMAT, and how to keep improving and show you that you got a coach who's behind you, and to show you that you are progressing. Okay. So that's what we realized would work, and it has worked. And it's incredible for me to say, and as a person who loves the GMAT, who's been teaching it for years, and loves watching people succeed, getting people to average at 680 was an impossible dream I had a long time ago, and I can't believe it's happening, but it is. It's incredible. And so it just goes to prove that our methods that we develop it's more human, more personal than it is just studying math and verbal problems just to get a score on a test. Okay, so that's what we learned, and we realized, man, you're learning real business skills, and we're seeing our alumni actually applying that in high-level jobs, and that's pretty awesome. That's validation of our theories and what we thought, right? So you're going to get that. You're going to get the coach and supporting you need. And listen, we took all this information. It's because we took the data. This is the stuff that the GMAT kind of showed me how to do, was how to ask the right questions, how to get the right answers. And in order to solve what I thought was a difficult problem, how are we going to get everybody together with social issues? How are everybody going to still individual type of training they need? And how are we going to get people to 680 in 4 months or less? Extremely difficult problem. But, those skills I learned teaching the GMAT or developing these methods actually helped us solve this problem, which to me is amazing. So, if you are interested in learning more, you can get a top GMAT score, which is great, but really, while becoming the best version of you, the version of you you're gonna develop and use for the rest of your life. Okay, because not just getting the MBA, not just getting the top job, you're doing this because this is going to change your life and give you, more importantly, the life and the lifestyle that you want. Okay, in order to do that, you need to become an expert problem solver, and studying for the GMAT and study properly will absolutely do that for you. Absolutely. Okay, so this is real quick. Listen, I want to help everybody out here. I'm not saying you need to take my course. I don't want to sell you on something, but I'm going to tell you this. Do take the free diagnostic quiz. Do take the free hour GMAT consultation, and take the 30 minutes free admissions consultant. It's free, and it's given by an expert advisor. More importantly, they're going to give you an idea of how to think about things, how to prepare about things if you haven't started already, or have you started and not succeeded so far. Okay. Anytime you get a different type of opinion, a person looking out and looking at your strengths and weaknesses, always a good thing. All right. So also, when you sign up for something like this, it gives you commitment. All right. There's one thing I'm going to tell you. You can sign up for any program in the world. If you don't have commitment, you're not going to succeed. Okay. So by signing up for something like this, it gives you commitment. I'm going to spend at least this amount of time doing a diagnostic quiz. Why? To find out my strengths and weaknesses, find out my root issues. Okay. Believe it, and from our diagnosis, we might show you a different cause of these root issues than you think. Great. That's still knowledge for you. What is a 1 hour free GMAT consultation? Well, you can ask them any questions you want about the GMAT. You can ask about your scheduling. You can ask about anything. It's a way to get expert advice for an hour and to basically give you the information that you really need to know. Okay. And of course, 30 minutes of admissions consulting, because most people don't think about admissions consulting when they're doing the GMAT. What they do is they do the GMAT, then they think about how I'm going to do my admissions application. Probably not the best idea. Okay. You need to start seeing yourself going forward in the future. That's going to make your GMAT preparations better, more valuable to you, because you know where it's going to end up leading. So talking with admissions consultant is going to help you understand, oh, maybe I need to position my life this way, so I can present myself in this manner. I can brand myself and I can become that person, right? Oh, maybe I need to do more social work. Maybe I need to do that. You can start preparing for it now. So take my advice, sign up for this. It doesn't cost you anything but time. Okay, just time, right? And if you ask me what we're doing here, studying for the GMAT, getting the career we want, getting the lifestyle we want, we're trying to gain time. All right, so you got to spend a little time, in my opinion, to get a lot more time back. All right, guys, that's it. Sorry I didn't show you the beginning of my presentation, but if you want to see this pretty quickly, nothing too nothing too big here. But again, I apologize for not sharing my screen. That's bad. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Thank you very much, Anish. It was really interesting session. Indeed, we have a few questions. So let me read the first one. Do you think it's a good idea to include my GMAT score in my CV when applying for a job?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Absolutely. Why? It shows determination. This is literally, I just gave a presentation about this to a consulting group. Students. Yes. Yes. Anytime you can show accomplishments, it's great, especially if people in that job have know what the GMAT is. Okay. If anything, it's really impressive. They know you put in this work. They know you put in perseverance. You have dedication to do this. Okay. Anytime you do something hard and you show that you're willing to do it, and if honestly, I think people have mixed reviews on, my partner will tell you, hey, put your best score on. I don't believe it. I like to put whatever score I have. And if I didn't do well, it's like, I'm going to keep doing it until I get better. That shows initiative, right? And so I'm a big fan of showing that. I think employers will like it. And they should like it, to be honest with you. I mean, yeah, why not? Right? Always show people what you're able to do. And
Thank
do
you.
it by personal learning. Okay.
Okay, another interesting question. What are some of the traps that test takers should avoid in their preparation?
Oh, so much. Okay, first of all, where to start? And look, you have to have a good baseline of where you want to start. It's really simple to go there and start reading books, doing exercises and whatnot. That's not a plan. Okay, whatever you need to do, you need to have a plan. You need to start with a plan, right? So it starts off by, what am I naturally good and bad at? Okay, and where do I, again, spend my allocated time to studying and improving on these areas, right? It may not be what you think, right? You can tell yourself, oh, I'm not good at, geometry, for instance, right? But really having good analysis right there is important to understand. Maybe I'm not good at reading questions. Maybe I make assumptions when I read. Maybe I don't really answer the question properly, right? This is a small root issues that can fix everything, okay? Again, utilize one of these services like ours. Get a good, start off with a good counselor or a good coach to help you set up a strategy, okay? And then there you go. You can follow that strategy by yourself. That's the number one trap. The second trap I would say is doing hard problems all the time. Like, people want to go, oh, I don't care about 600, 500 level questions. I'm just going to do 700 level questions. Okay. That's not good. That's not a good method of studying for the test. You're not really learning the skill sets you're doing, because when you make 500 and 600 level questions, you're more likely, if you miss them, if you don't master them, you're more likely to make silly mistakes. If you make silly mistakes on the GMAT, you will be punished. The GMAT does not punish you for making mistakes on challenging questions. It punishes you for making mistakes on questions that it knows that you know. And trust me, the GMAT knows. It's a great algorithm out there, and you can look into this, but the GMAT knows which questions you should be able to answer and not. Okay, that's how the test is designed. So don't master 500, master 600s, master them, and make sure you understand why you're making mistakes. Make sure you are classifying your silly mistakes versus, real mistakes, like unforced errors. Get rid of them. Real mistakes, that's okay. I don't know that problem. That's okay. You can work on those later, but make sure you're getting every problem that you should be getting right, get them right.
This is a great advice. Thank you. Okay, many business schools accept both GMAT and GRE scores. How should applicants choose which test to sit?
Depends what you want to do. I mean, if you're good at English, I mean, if you're used to taking the SAT, then GRE is fine. I don't personally like the GRE. I don't teach the GRE. I should. A lot more applicants out there, but I don't believe in it, to be honest with you. Now, why it's really good for, in the sense of, if you're good at, the verbal aspect of it is challenging, right? You have to know different definitions of words, English words, and you have to be able to put them in these different blanks. It's like an SAT in that kind of sense. But if you can master that, then that might be the best route for you if you're a little bit poor in math, because also the schools don't have to report the GRE scores so you can probably have an easier chance of getting in. But again, I mean, look at this differently, right? Is my job to get into a school? Yeah, sure. But why not start learning the stuff that matters, that's going to help me at business school? And any way you look at it, the GMAT, it's a natural test for business school. Okay. Now, I understand that GMAT people can do other stuff to promote it better and whatnot. But listen, honestly, this is just a better test if you want to learn these skills. Okay. If your job is hey, let me just have the best application forward, I can learn everything in business school, that's fine. You can go study the GRE. Again, I would say GRE, if you're really good at verbal, I mean, really, really good, and you want to learn some stuff, I mean, that whole verbal section in the GRE, it doesn't make any sense why that's applicable to business school. But, it's a general, graduate school test. And trust me, I would teach it if I thought it was relevant, but I just can't do that. But, that's why I feel about the GRE. Again, here's the facts. Facts are, if you do decent on GRE, it might help you get into school. That's the facts, because they don't have to report it, and it doesn't affect their school rankings.
I think that's very helpful opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a question that is more related to admissions in general than GMAT, but maybe you can help here. How competitive has MBA admission been in the past year? What trends do you foresee in 2022?
I'm not the admissions guy, but I can tell you what I've learned. My partner Joe is. Okay, he's the guy for sure. Built a whole admissions program, and again, I recommend you signing up for a 30-minute of consultation with him. What I would tell you is that it's definitely more competitive. I mean, MBA salaries are going through the roof right now. Okay, and no matter how the world's going with automation and tech and whatnot, at the end of the day, you need a manager. You can't automate a manager making these critical things. Okay, and so that's why they're so in demand. It is competitive. Every year it's going to feel like it's more competitive, right? The only time when you feel it's not competitive is when the economy is going up. When the economy is going up, people tend to stay in their own job. When there's recession or there's looming inflation or something like that, yeah, people are going to go and study more. Okay, I wouldn't look at it like that. You shouldn't, again, if you say it's competitive to go now or get it in, you're missing the point here. Like, again, it's about you and your journey. You need to think about, where do you want to end up in 20 years? Okay, the MBA, this is a part of the process. So you're not even thinking about it. You don't like, you can go to top 10 school or whatever, but you're already knowing kind of what areas you want to work in, how this MBA is going to help me. And there's going to be an MBA out there that's going to help you do that. Okay, and if you plan in 5-6 schools, got a good GMAT score, you have a high shot of getting into one of them. Okay, so that's the way you should look at it. People ask me all the time, should I apply this year, next year? Well, ask yourself, where do you want to be in 2 years, 3 years time? Okay, and that's how you should make that decision. Don't think about what my next step is. Think about what my final step should be.
I absolutely love what you're saying. Okay, so we have one last question. It's a big question, but gives you the opportunity to kind of sum up everything that you've said until now. What is the value of GMAT test prep beyond the score itself?
Oh man, for me personally, it's huge. Man, I built a business, y'all. I literally built the dream business of mine. I can help people, and every one of the people that work for me are extremely smart. We all solve problems with this methodology, and we're able to grow and constantly solve and adapt our problems. So from a personal standpoint, it's incredible. Who would have thought? I never would have thought. I come from a physics background, right? And I thought physics was useful in the way of thinking and solving problems, but this is just making it more condensed and finding that root issue. Once I learned how to do that, and the realizing consultants do it, finance people do it, top managers do it, top people in all fields do it, I was like, oh wow, this is pretty cool, And so for me personally, it's been extremely helpful. I try to get everybody to do it. I try to get everybody in the company, whether they work in finance, they can be, PR, whatever. I think they all should take it, because it really develops these skills. Now the score, that's dependent on you and how you want to fix your skills. But noticing, going to test yourself and saying, hey, do I have these skills or not? And am I willing to learn how to develop these skills? Now that is what's important. Okay, because doing that has allowed me personally to overcome problems I've had after GMAT, after business. I personally I want to accomplish more and more goals I personally want. I went to go learn scuba diving, which I was scared of doing, and I thought it was cool, but I was scared of doing it. I utilized some of the methodology I did in learning, preparing for the GMAT, doing that. I spent the last 6 months trying to master this game of golf that I learned in quarantine. And that's a difficult game apparently, and it is pretty difficult actually. It's really hard. But I utilized the methods I did when I was studying for the GMAT, and the skill set, especially data sufficiency. What's my root problem? Work from the end to the front, and I did incredible. I got 20. I went from a 110 to a 90. Which is considered really good. And personally, so that's I can have personal achievement in my own personal goals utilizing these methods. And so this is why I love it. And this is why I'll preach it to the end of my days, because it's shown that it's been not only successful for my clients, man, it's been successful for me and my friends and everybody. So, and I utilize it really outside of the business world, in my life world, and how am I going to accomplish this, Nish? How are you going to do that? And so that's why it's been really awesome. I'd recommend studying it for it anyway, because again, my experience with it has been excellent, and I just want other people to learn some of the stuff I've learned.
This is amazing. Thank you very much. We don't have any more questions, but really, really thank you for joining us and sharing your experience and wisdom. For everyone who is listening, I hope we managed to motivate you to keep studying for the GMAT, and we wish you success.
Yes, and one more thing, guys. Listen, one more thing. Again, one thing I'll tell you is don't do this to yourself. Find community, find people to study with. Okay, it's so much better. It makes it more fun. You guys will cheer each other on. You'll go through your successes and failures together, and it's developing that type of community that you need in business school, right? You're going to go to business school. You're going to be part of cohorts and whatnot there. Okay, and if you need more help about this, listen, take my advice. Go click on the link. Just fill out a form and talk to one of our guys, and they can solve your personal problems at least, and that's going to give you that start you need, or maybe that finding that root issue that you're not seeing. Okay. Well, good luck to all you guys in your GMAT journey, and never, never, never quit. If you want this, just never quit. You'll get it.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.